live. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Friday. We're up here at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. All activity today on runway 24 right. Sorry, I had a little delay there. As soon as I went to go live, I had like a bug or something fly to my throat. So we're no longer dying. I assume you guys didn't want to hear me die, so I figured I would push it back and get a drink really quick. Got a private jet inbound, several private jets today. It probably has to do with the commissioning of the USS Cleveland downtown tomorrow, the Navy warship. I saw a Navy C-32 landed, or C-37 landed at Burke a few minutes ago. We also got Game 6 of the NBA playoffs as well. Big game for the Cavs. I think they got to win tonight. There's Game 7 in Detroit. Probably not going to win that one, so hopefully the Cavs can pull it off. Got a United 737 lining up for departure. We have a special livery later on tonight. We should have our heavies as well. We're supposed to have another special livery tonight. Alaska's going to send their Tiana, their new special livery, Tiana's Bayou, whatever it's called at Disney World. Only Alaska special I haven't seen yet. They're supposed to be here tonight. They changed it, pushed it back to tomorrow, switched it to the Toontown livery, and then they switched the Toontown livery a little bit ago. And then they took the Tiana's Bayou Adventure off for tomorrow morning. So I guess we'll still miss out on that one. A little on the windy side tonight, not too bad. But thank you guys all so much for being here. United takes off. It'll be a little difficult with 24 right for the time being with departures from over here. But I see they took the trucks off 24 left, so we should see that runway open up as well. Southwest getting ready to go. Here's some military sounding call signs going downtown, so I wonder if there might be some more military flights coming in for the commissioning of that ship. So last Saturday, I went downtown to see it come in. It was pretty impressive to see that come in. Is that as I was downtown getting ready to leave, one of the bulk carriers, the 1,000-foot-long lake iron ore carriers, pulled out, which is pretty cool. So I sat there to watch that leave. Southwest getting ready to go. $737-700 tonight. Excuse me, Southwest on their way out. Got a tickle in my throat. I don't know if I had a bug fly in it or what when I was setting up. And they got Beach Premier. Kind of a funny looking aircraft, isn't it, heading out? That's all. I came up last night to get the JetBlue Blueprint livery when it came in, and I saw the Panama Embraer was sitting outside of Constance. I wanted that aircraft maybe getting ready to leave at some point. I also saw the Lebanese Falcon was back in town last night. I was told they should leave this afternoon. Hopefully we'll catch it. I don't see it over there anymore, but I don't have the best line of sight over there, so it may just be on the other side and I can't see it. But I didn't drive over towards Atlantic tonight to find out for sure. I was told around 4. I got here around 3:30 or so, worked up here for a little while. Caught some aircraft that were coming in. I didn't see it leave when I was up here, so hopefully it's still here. I'm not sure though. Been a busy couple of weeks. First time I've been up. Last night was the first time I was up here in about a week and a half. Just with a lot going on with work and at home, and last week it was my mother-in-law's birthday, so we did a bunch of stuff over there. Went downtown to find that ship. I did go to Detroit last weekend to catch one of the Spirit flights, one of the final Spirit Airbuses before it left. It went out to Arizona. That's a video I'm going to have to post. Wasn't out there too long, but I thought it was worth the drive out to see that. I know there's still one in Pittsburgh, and I think there's still 2 or 3 in Detroit. And a handful of other Spirit aircraft around the country at different airports. I was watching, if you haven't watched Cockpit Professionals, it's the Nomadic Aviation or Nomadic Airlines podcast. They did a YouTube video that they posted today about how they're moving the Spirit aircraft around. Really interesting video to watch. Sad video to watch too, but so they talked about how the leasing companies got a hold of them. I think that the ones that haven't been moved yet are probably ones maybe that Spirit actually owns. They just haven't been ferried out yet, because the one that left in Detroit left under the call sign was the aircraft's tail number. The C-37 took off from Burke heading back, so they must have dropped off whoever it was. Air Force One is about to cross into Michigan on their way back from China. I don't know if it'll pass over. Not that we could really see it anyways with the clouds, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. Got a Cessna Citation heading up. I don't know if it's coming here or heading over to Burke. We'll keep an eye on that. Looks like it might be heading over to Burke. But we'll keep an eye on our inbound and our outbound flights just to kind of see where we're at this afternoon. But business will definitely pick up later on in the afternoon. We'll definitely go do a live stream in Detroit for you over the next couple of weeks. So Southwest 2639 looks like it's our next inbound flight. It's a 737 MAX 8 out of BWI. It's about 29 minutes out. We have United Express 3508 out of Newark, American Eagle 4390 out of LaGuardia. For you regional jet fans out there, Frontier 4210 out of Atlanta is about 45 minutes out. Delta 2750 just taking off out of Atlanta, hour 7 out. American Eagle 5529 out of Charlotte. UPS about to take off out of Louisville, Kentucky, flight 5442 heavy. So a few of the aircraft that we'll have coming in over the next hour or so. A little closer to home, looks like we got a Flexjet Embraer ready to go. Anyone in the Navy is going to go to the Cavs game. I'm assuming so. I'm assuming that they'll put them up as guest of honor with the commissioning of their ship tomorrow. And I think I heard it was supposed to leave on Monday, so maybe Tuesday. So if you got a chance, definitely go down and check that out. It's really neat. Really fascinating to check that out. It was parked behind the stadium last weekend. I'm assuming that's probably still where it's at. Seeing a big naval warship in Lake Erie, not something you see every day for sure. United Express getting ready to go in E175. The Flexjet that just took off is on their way to Buffalo. One piece of news that I do have for you, the B-29 dock that was supposed to be in town next weekend. They're still working on getting that aircraft airworthy for the year. And they have pushed that visit back to September over at Burke Lakefront Airport, a couple of weeks after the air show. And they're going to be bringing the P-51 Mustang gunfighter with them. So we'll have a couple of opportunities to see that aircraft this year. Doc will be at Burke with Gunfighter, and then Gunfighter should be in Mansfield, I think in July, June or July, with Fifi. The other B-29 that's airworthy will be in town with the world's only currently airworthy B-24, Diamond Lil back on tour this year. And we'll also have the B-17 Sentimental Journey in Akron next month. So if you're a Warbird fan, we're going to see some heavy bombers this year. A couple of B-25s will be around. We'll have a B-25 with the B-17. don't see that Falcon, so I think unfortunately it might have left. The Lebanese Prime Minister's aircraft, I think, might have left, unfortunately. But anyways, and I know there'll be a couple of B-25s up at Port Clinton this year. The one that's based there and the one out of Michigan. So if you're a Warbird fan, looks like a great summer for you. Delta 757 sitting over there, one of our NBA charters. Go back, take a look at our comments. We got Money here. It says, yo, Flex Check Gulfstream 5000 just did a circle around my house and landed. I got a sick video of it. That's awesome. You must live over by one of the airports. I guess that's a hear your sign question. That's awesome to check that out up close. Jeffrey's here from Spokane. And we got Sarah here as well. Hope you're doing well. Got Aer Lingus tonight. They're about 45 minutes out. Flight 9 Alpha Romeo. Shamrock 9 Alpha Romeo. A321neo tonight. Alaska 216 is about an hour out. And about 2 hours out, probably the last aircraft of the night, we'll have Frontier 2698 out of Phoenix. It is Maria the Bald Eagle. One of their special liveries we should see tonight. Got a business jet inbound. If I can catch up to it, there it is. Pretty rough couple of days here in northeastern Ohio. There was an aircraft that had a gear failure while landing in Geauga, at Geauga County Airport. Everyone got out okay. The aircraft did a belly landing, and then yesterday near Akron Fulton Airport, a Piper crashed while making a turn. I assume it looks like they were lining up for the runway. Crashed into a couple of houses and killed the two people on board the aircraft. Fortunately, everyone got out of the houses okay. A small Piper that crashed out there. So thinking about the families and loved ones of those that were lost in that aircraft yesterday. Auto the Owl heading out. I believe it's heading to Raleigh, Durham, if I remember right. Airbus A321. Could be making the taxi over to us. Frontier, one of the airlines, is posed to have a chance to gain some ground, gain some passengers with the loss of their main competitor at Spirit. Wouldn't be surprised if they may pick up some of the aircraft that were parked in the desert. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Change that battery here in a minute. Be a pretty good night actually to be over at Heartland. These aircraft will all be taking off more or less in front of you. Down there. It's a shame they're not coming in on the 6s because I would just want to set up right over there for you.
Contact, follow me, same 14000. Cat 27, turn running.
There we go. Now we can hear everything. Need to get a speaker to plug that thing into. So Danny's asking, I want to know how I could see a 747 at Hopkins. Just got to get lucky for part of it. We should have the Dubai Air Wing coming in at some point. It's been a few months since they've been here, so probably getting pretty close to the Dubai Air Wing coming back. However, the Browns dropped their schedule yesterday, and I was looking at the different teams that are supposed to be coming in. So taking a look at the, based on who flew what last year, and again, this could change, but based on who flew what last year, the Browns will be kicking off their preseason against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Probably will take a United 757 or 777 out there. Preseason, they tend to bring bigger airplanes and just have more people on board. And then Buffalo will be here for the second week of the preseason. And they flew Delta last year, so we may see a 767, may see an A330, may see an A350, although I kind of doubt it. My guess is a 767. The third week of the preseason will be a big week for spotters. The New England Patriots are coming to town. So we should see the Patriots special livery for the third week of the preseason. And then in the regular season, we're going to see a whole lot of United this year. So week 1, the Browns are going to Jacksonville. That'll be a United 777 more than likely. Week 2 to Tampa, another United 777. Week 3, we're back home with Carolina. Last year they flew American, which would make sense out of Charlotte. So probably an American 777, maybe a 787 for week 3 against the Carolina Panthers. Week 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming to town. I think they take Uber, if I remember right. It might be Greyhound. But I know they drive, so they'll be on the bus. Week 5, the Browns will be going to New York. They'll be taking either a 777 or a 757 for United. My guess would be a 777. Week 6, that's the week that's going to answer Danny's question. Week 6, home against Baltimore. Baltimore, the last several years, has flown Atlas Air on their 747, so we should see an Atlas Air 747 on week 6 of the NFL season. So make sure you're up here for that one. And that's actually going to be a good time because that's early enough in the season. We should get a daytime arrival for that aircraft. Week 7, heading to Tennessee, be another United 777 more than likely. Week 8, Pittsburgh. Browns will be heading over to Pittsburgh, getting the Pittsburgh series done early this season. I think Jimmy makes him take a bicycle, if I remember right. I don't think he even pays for a bus. Taxi cabs, maybe. Week 9, heading to New Orleans will be a United 777. Week 10, Houston will be here. And they, of course, fly United, so United 777. Slight chance of I don't know if they'll take the Rockets aircraft. Since the Astros and the Rockets they both share the same airplane, but the Houston Texans typically have taken United, so assuming it'll still be United this year. Week 11 is a bye week. Week 12, home against Las Vegas. Either a United 777 or 787 for that one. Like last time Vegas was here, I think they flew on United United Dreamliner, so we'll see if they bring that back this year. Week 13, the Cincinnati Bengals will be here. They fly Delta, probably a 757 over the Burke if they continue their normal traditions. Week 14, home against Atlanta, be a Delta 767, maybe an A330 for that week. Week 15, heading back to New York to face the other New York team with a United 777. Week 16 at Baltimore will be a United 777. Week 17, the Indianapolis Colts will be here. Possibly a Delta A330, 767, maybe a 757 at that point. And then the final week of the season, heading to Cincinnati on that United 757. So to answer Danny's question, assuming that the NFL teams stay the same, and they do tend to change. It seems like every year someone does something different. I feel like more teams have been flying Atlas the last couple of years. But assuming things stay the same, week 6 against the Baltimore Ravens, which I think will be in the September time frame, maybe early October, we should see a Atlas Air 747. So you'll see that one for sure. But somewhere in there, in the next few weeks, I would imagine the Dubai Air Wing will be back with their heavy 747. So again, follow me on Instagram. If I get an alert that's coming in, I'll make sure to post it for you. American 650 heading out for departure. 737-800, the new flight for this year, heading out to LAX. American and United this year are at each other's throats on a lot of flights, kind of doubling up at each other, especially in Chicago. But this is traditionally a United flight that American has jumped on. Down in Columbus, the opposite happened. Columbus is more of an American-heavy airport, and United has taken an LAX flight this summer down there. So, see a little bit of competition going back and forth. Of course, traditionally in the past, this has been United and Spirit on this route. But Spirit dropped that flight a couple of years ago now, going through all their financial issues. But pretty cool that we have both American and United on the LAX flight now. I feel like Frontier did this flight too, but I don't remember for sure in the past. American timing would be if you're going out there for a vacation, or if you have a business meeting tomorrow, it'll be a pretty good flight for you. Like it's afternoon timing. Delta Connection CRJ heading out. There's just not enough contrast once the aircraft climb past that building to pick it up, because the skies are kind of a grayish color out there, so the autofocus is really struggling if the aircraft are rotating behind that little building over there. Delta Connection CRJ. Got a business jet inbound as well. The wind has definitely picked up in the last half hour or so. When I got up here, it was pretty much dead calm. The sun even peeked out for a little bit, and it was definitely warmer. It's dropped a little bit now. But we could hit 90 degrees this weekend. So the CRJ is going to hold short with the inbound Falcon. And behind the Falcon, we'll have Southwest 2639. 737 MAX out of BWI. And Air Force One passed quite a bit to the south of us, so we're going to pass east side of Columbus. But not quite where we're going to be able to see it. Falcon is Key Banks aircraft. I think I own a piece of that aircraft with my one of our car payments. Falcon 2000. Behind the CRJ, we have a American Eagle Embraer ERJ 145 that's lining up for departure. We'll put the two of them together for you while we wait on Southwest. The Delta connection flight is 4975 heading to JFK, and American is 5984 on their way to Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Southwest is inbound. Over at Concourse Bravo, the Delta 737 is getting ready to push back for their flight over to Atlanta. As the Delta CRJ heads out, I'll give you guys a little bit of a treat. Oh, look at that classic Mustang down here. It's car show season for sure. Lots of classic cars out running around. I would love to have that. I don't know about you. I'm more of a Chevy guy than a Ford guy, but I still would enjoy having that. We had Camaros in my life growing up, but I would still would love to have that one. American Eagle heading out. ERJ 145 for Piedmont Airlines on their way to Philadelphia. So Marjorie was asking, why do we have 2 control towers? And really, it's kind of just, it's a simple answer. Really, the reason is just because this control tower is pretty new. So this control tower was built about 10 years ago now, roughly 10 years ago. At the time, it was one of the tallest air traffic control towers in the world. I don't think it was number 1, but it was one of the tallest air traffic control towers in the world. And so that's the active control tower. That's where air traffic control is now. So they get some nice views of the ramp while they're over there. The other control tower we actually have 3 of them. There's an older one as well. This control tower is the control tower that was used for many, many years. Built in the 70s, I think. I could be wrong on that. This control tower is not used anymore for air traffic control. They do still have some radar up there that they use, but not used as an air traffic control tower anymore with the taller tower off to the right. And it will be demolished as part of the master plan, the airport terminal master plan that's underway. So within the next 5 years or so, that's supposed to be gone. I would like to go up there though. I bet imagine plane spotting up there. I bet it's got to be incredible. But it'll be torn down when they start the modernization project, which I haven't seen much started. Haven't seen much going on with it yet. They haven't started the construction on the new parking lot yet. That's going over by the Concourse D, the Delta Concourse over there, which is supposed to start. I thought it was supposed to start in April. I haven't seen anything yet. I know they've been working on some other things. The central security checkpoint they're working on now, so they have that closed. But ultimately, the terminal that exists now will be torn down and replaced with a new modern terminal, and then eventually the concourses will be replaced as well. Got a Gulfstream over the lake. I wonder if that Gulfstream looks like it's maybe heading to Burke, but hopefully it comes our way. We got Air Lingus about 10 minutes out. Got Frontier about 10 minutes out. I think Gulfstream might be coming our way. Of course, Cleveland is far from the only airport that has multiple control towers. A really famous example is Washington Dulles. They have a new modern control tower that they work out of, but their old control tower, which is in the shape of a Japanese pagoda, kind of that design, still stands. Beautiful control tower. And there are many other airports as well. Just have gotten new towers and just haven't torn the old ones down yet. In the case of Dulles, I don't think they'll tear that one down, but I think control towers are pretty cool. Kind of fascinating, the designs that they come up with. And as you travel around the country, some look very similar to others, and other ones are really unique with the architecture that they choose. The one at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base stands on a hill, and it's really imposing if you're in that area. It stands on 2 kind of these concrete legs, and then it spans the top of the 2 legs, but it's really imposing looking on the hill. I think my favorite control tower is the one at Dayton. I always thought that control tower was really pretty. It's got like a glass spire that goes up. and at night they light it up. It's a really pretty control tower, especially at night. Honestly, a really nice airport, what they have down in Dayton. I've never flown out of it, so I don't know what the inside of it looks like. But the parts of it that I've been to, like the outside of the airport, the garages, looking at the tower and everything around it. And then I've been in the terminal to use the restroom when I was down there and grab something to eat. Nice looking terminal. Southwest is Southwest is waiting for their gate. The other Southwest probably shouldn't get ready to go soon. Flight 1202 will be heading to Nashville. It's the one at the gate. So Southwest is waiting for their gate, and we got Delta Connection, the E175, that has pushed back. It'll be heading to Boston. Flight 5641, United Express 3508 is inbound from Newark. And I see a Gulfstream G650. I think it's a 550. I think it's heading to Burke, but we'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully it heads over this way. So Southwest is waiting for the other Southwest to push back. They just got their clearance to push. But in a nutshell, that's why there's two control towers. I think they should turn the old one into an observation deck. What do you think? Got Chris here asking, how's your evening? Oops. Well, it's a lot better than the morning. I'm not working. So not too bad. Pretty comfortable night up here. A little cloudy, but not too bad. Hope you're having a good evening. So I've heard rumors, but is the IX Center officially closed? It is. It is closed. It closed after the Summit Racing show, the Piston Power show. That was in March. I actually got a video. I did just kind of a walkthrough, no talking or anything on it. I just did a walkthrough of that show on the last day. So you can check that out. We don't know what's actually going to go there. There's some rumors of a data center, which the city has shot that rumor down. It was supposed to have been an EV battery plant, but it sounds like that fell through. There's been some talk about manufacturing, but nothing official has come out about the future of that building. It was being leased, I think, by Gojo. Like part of it was being leased as warehousing, which is why they cut it off. So if you've been in that building over the last couple of years, they put a concrete wall roughly where the Ferris wheel used to be and kind of split that building in half. And so all the convention stuff is on the other side, on the east wing of the IX Center. And then the west wing became warehousing. But when I was in it, I didn't see really anything in the warehousing side. It seemed pretty empty. Like I didn't see pallets or anything or shelving or anything over there. So as far as I know, it's completely empty now. Southwest is pushed back for Nashville. It's a shame though. A lot of great memories there going to the car shows with my dad and just doing things with friends and family going through there. I never got to the amusement park, but I know a lot of people that had a great time over there. I think we all know the commercial for the amusement park though. Just Google IX Indoor Amusement Park if you want to hear the jingle. It's very catchy. But I'd be curious to see what happens. Personally, I'd like to see, if it can't be a convention center, I hope it's something that can be useful for the airport. So anything that would need access to the airport, a cargo facility, aircraft manufacturing facility or maintenance facility, or who knows, right? But I just think it's on the airport. It should be used it should be used for the airport or need access to the airport. Because there's enough empty warehouses out there. .3508 inbound from Newark. Got American trying to thread the Southwest sandwich over there. We got Southwest, one going in, one going out, and American trying to get out around them. There's the American. 737 City here in Cleveland. As Aer Lingus is on final for 2-4 right. American is flight 1989. It'll be heading to DFW. Mike says we definitely need an observation deck. Yes, we do. I agree. They brought the Hangout Pass out last year, so you can sign up for that online and go through security and go into the terminal. It's really for people that want to say goodbye to their families and loved ones before they go on a trip or meet them in the airport when they come back. But you can go in there and look out the windows and watch airplanes. It might be kind of cool if there's a special livery that goes to a gate or something. Not the best views from the terminal or the runways, at least from my experience, but it is an option. But I hope that they take it a step further and go, okay, you can come through security now. We're going to open up the observation deck and let you go back on the roof and watch airplanes. I hope that's something that they do. They've gotten a lot more receptive to people coming up here and watching airplanes over the last couple of years. So I'm hoping that they will take the next step and let people go up to the observation deck again and get some nice up-close views of these aircraft. Like the Aer Lingus A321, it's inbound from Dublin. I know our parking garage isn't really the best vantage point. It's pretty good for the ramps, especially if you want to look on the other side of the Charlie concourse over where Alaska and JetBlue park. But this is the best view of the runways. We're pretty far away from the runways over there. And the new parking deck that's going to replace the existing one will be even farther away from the runways. So it would be cool if maybe with the new terminal, if they put in an observation deck or something. A lot of airports are putting them in, so it's definitely a possibility. Frontier 4210 A320neo rocket the Hammerhead Shark inbound from Atlanta. Presto 85 said I just drove by you. We'll drive safe. No texting and driving. We hit the Frontier. Sounds like they're going to try to squeeze the American in between the arriving Frontier and the inbound American Eagle. The pretty tight thread by the time this gets off the runway, but it sounds like they're going to try to get them off the ground. So as Frontier rolls out and a bunch of bikes go by, we'll grab American flight 1989 on their way to Dallas Fort Worth, DFW. Hopkins 737, not going to get off the ground before the building, but they're on their way to Dallas. How's it going? If you're up here, something must be coming in.
Oh no, I'm waiting to pick up my parents.
No.
I figured something was going on.
American Eagle inbound. Grab the Aer Lingus Neo that's taxiing over in front of the IX Center on their way to their gate. About a 7.5-hour flight inbound from Dublin. This must be a crew that hasn't been here before because they're asking a lot of questions about how to get over to their gate. And until they're not taxiing very fast because Frontier must be auditioning for their role at Southwest someday, has caught up to them. FlexJet inbound. Speaking of Southwest, flight 1202 to Nashville is still sitting on the pad, waiting for their clearance. Frontier has caught Aer Lingus. Frontier will go to their gate on the Alpha concourse. Aer Lingus to go over to the other side of the Charlie concourse. And then we should see Aer Lingus leave around 8 o'clock tonight. The United Express E175 inbound. I can't really see to my left because of the trees, so I kind of have to guess where they're going to be. But with 2-4 right ops tonight, I wanted to make sure you guys could see the runway. Southwest waiting for their gate or waiting for their clearance to head out. United in the background at A319 on their way to Chicago. Meanwhile, Delta 1449. Airbus A220 inbound from Minneapolis on final. which means we should hear the sound of a dog bark here in a minute as the 220 rolls out. Nice upgrade for that flight today. I'm sure once this starts to throttle up as a taxi, we'll hear it. JetBlue yesterday, when I was at Heartland and the Blueprint livery came in, I could hear that thing all the way over to the gate. United heading to O'Hare. It's an 8319. Southwest is out of the penalty box, taxi behind it on their way to Nashville. American Eagle 5529, it's a CRJ operated by PSA Airlines over downtown, turning final. Heading to, or inbound from Charlotte. UPS 5442 Heavy is 12 minutes out from Louisville at 7:67 tonight. UPS only tonight, no FedEx. Channel 3 put out an article that's a little sensationalist, but also 100% true that the aircraft that crashed into a couple of homes yesterday near Akron Fulton Airport, that's the third time in the last 11 years. They said the last 11 years that happened. That doesn't seem right, though. I remember the jet that crashed, which I know they made there's an episode of Air Disasters, Mayday Air Disasters on that. The jet that crashed while landing at Fulton in pretty poor weather, went into the side of an apartment, killed I think 8 or 9 people on board. And then when I was younger, when I was a kid, I remember one crashed into a neighborhood in Ellett. So I remember that. I don't remember a third one in the last 11 years though. Not saying it hasn't happened, I just don't remember a third one. I have to go back and look, but I remember the third in the last 26 years, I guess, but I don't remember in the last 11 years. I have to go back and look at that. But either way, that's a pretty crazy number of aircraft going into homes near that airport. Tom's asking if I'm in front of the Aviator. I am tonight. Aviator's the place to be with the 2-4 ops, although Heartland would be a pretty good place to be tonight with all ops on 2-4 right. They'd be rotating right in front of you down there at the business park. It's not the best angle for a stream though, but if I was just doing a regular video, that's probably where I would be tonight. American Eagle CRJ inbound from Charlotte. I see a fire truck is out. There's a fire truck and an ops vehicle sitting over at UPS. They're not on the runway or near the runway, so I don't think they're staging for an emergency. But I wonder if something happened over at UPS. There's a couple of fire trucks over there. So I wonder what's going on here. We got a couple of fire trucks. These are over on the UPS ramp. So I don't know if they're training or if something's going on over there or what, but see, they're right by the UPS 757 that's over there. You know, not too far away from that wing. So I don't know if there's an issue with the UPS Heavy that's coming in, or maybe they're just waiting over there or training or something, but they're not staging on the runway, so I don't think there's an inbound emergency. We'll keep an eye on that though, as United heads to O'Hare. I guess they could potentially be staging kind of for runway 10. Which if they're doing that, then something must be seriously wrong. But I don't think they are. I think they're just, I don't know what they're doing now. One is definitely closer than the other, though. So maybe there is an inbound emergency and they're just not ready to stage yet. I'm not sure. One is definitely closer to us than the other one, though. We'll keep an eye on them. Southwest 1202 on their way to Nashville. The reason I said they're staging for 10, that something would be seriously wrong. The reason I'm saying that is because that would be opposite direction traffic. And on the pretty rarely used crosswind runway. So I don't think that's what they're doing, but one is over here by the UPS and the other one's a little bit farther back. There's one, and the other one, there's the other one. You can tell they're a little farther away. So I guess we'll keep an eye on them and see if we see anything going on. UPS may be the next inbound flight. They're just to the north of us, flight 5442, 6 minutes out from Louisville. There's also a Cessna Skyhawk that's kind of heading up this way, about to pass over Parma at 2,900 feet. I would be surprised if it comes in, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. American Eagle 5170 out of DCA, it's 10 minutes out. CRJ 700 and Air Canada Jazz 647 out of Montreal, following the American Eagle. A couple of ops vehicles over here too. I don't know what's going on. Makes you think they're training. Makes me think they're training, but we'll keep an eye on them. Whew, that's a nice car. I think the last couple of times that we had a stream, we had an inbound emergency, so we'll keep an eye on it. It does sound like.
We can't guarantee that they can do a 180 on the runway and basically reverse the active runway. I would plan for Golf 5, Victor 2.
All right, something may be up. We'll keep an eye on it. I think American Eagle will get here first.
We're going to head back to the gate.
Delta Connection, that pushback, they are going to go back to their gate. So I think American Eagle will get here first, followed by Air Canada Jazz. Well, UPS may get ahead of them. They're turning over downtown now. The Gulfstream G650 following UPS. So I don't know, lots of stuff going on. Sorry about the wind is taking the camera wherever it wants to take it. I was just trying to figure out where everything might be, what's going on with the fire department over there.
Flight 378, traffic no factor, cleared visual approach runway 6.
Sounds like County has switched to runway 6. TPAJ coming in clutch says CMH has 3 towers. The present one built in 2004 and the one attached to the present terminal. And the 1929 tower on the terminal building across from the present airport. And he is right, there are 3 towers down there. I wonder if the historic tower, the historic terminal, if you could go in there. I'm assuming you can, but I don't know. If not, I think they should turn that into like a museum because there's an awful lot of history down there. I see they're spraying water now, so they must just be, I wonder if this UPS, I wonder if this UPS may be a retirement flight. They're over there spraying water, making arcs kind of together. At least they were a second ago. I wonder if this is a retirement flight. Because now that I look at it, we can't see the closer truck because of the building, but I can see the water a second ago. And with ops sitting over there, I wonder if this is a retirement flight, guys. So UPS 5442 heavy on final for a 2-4 right out of Louisville, Kentucky, 767-300. This might be a retirement flight. We got ARF staged in front of UPS. They just did a water arc. Looks like they were practicing for it. So we'll let you know. J-Ro is here. Hope you're doing well. Says hello, everyone. I think you might have a retirement flight coming in. One of the guys that spots up here quite a bit, his brother flies for FedEx. They go in and out quite a bit, so it certainly is feasible that there's a UPS pilot based out of Cleveland. So we're going to stay staged and possibly catch someone's final landing here. Which came out way more morbid sounding than it should be.
6,000,
So UPS 5442 Heavy rolling out on 24 right out of Louisville. And again, I think this is a retirement flight. We got the fire department stage. They just turned their lights on. I think these guys are going to get the water arc as they come in. And so if it is, congratulations to the pilot that's retiring on a successful career. So we'll stick with the UPS 767. Got a inbound CRJ. They just kicked Air Canada Jazz to the north. So Jazz is going north of Cleveland. So I wonder maybe they got too close to the American Eagle.
Jazz 647 is to maintain 3 south.
Fortunately, we got to shoot through the fence to try to pick this up, but we'll do the best we can for you. UPS will have to wait to cross as the American Eagle CRJ out of DCA is inbound. As they get closer, we'll see if they turn the water on. I see they're staged over there. Fortunately, they're right where that building is, so it's going to be kind of hard to catch it, but we'll do the best we can. And yeah, he's getting the water arc salute. So congratulations to the retiring pilot on the UPS 767. Check that out. Getting the water salute from ops here. It sounds like they might have given UPS the clearance to cross, and that's why Air Canada turned and is doing a longer approach. But hey, when you're wrapping up your career, you deserve it, right?
number 4 is off the field on the national ramp. Good day.
So the firefighters will head back to the station to prepare for the rest of their evening. Meanwhile, congratulations to the retiring pilot on their conclusion of a successful career with UPS. Meanwhile, a little closer to us, we have Frontier lining up for departure. And Air Canada Jazz is inbound from Montreal. The E-175. Frontier 1831 A320neo heading to Tampa. Alaska 216, 737 MAX 8 inbound from Seattle, followed by Delta Connection 4954 out of Detroit, Delta 2750 out of Atlanta, and a United Express 3527 out of Washington Dulles. Delta Connection 5194 out of LaGuardia, and American Eagle 5133 out of Philadelphia. Lots of inbound flights all of a sudden. Yesterday, Avelo was here. They had a party in the terminal to try to drum up some excitement for their new service that'll be starting next month to, I believe, it's New Haven and Concord, North Carolina. I may take the flight to North Carolina just to go visit some family. Depending on how much it costs, that might be a pretty cool trip. New Haven might be a cool trip too. But we'll have Avelo next month as the new airline. I think it's June 19th, if I remember right. And then in a couple of weeks, Aer Lingus will start their service to Pittsburgh. It's a debate about going out to try to catch, because I was out of town when we had Aer Lingus inaugural here. We had a wedding we had to go to. And so we were in Chicago. I was at O'Hare that night. So I carved out a little bit of time in our evening to go to O'Hare. So I saw an Aer Lingus A330, but missed the inaugural flight. So maybe we'll go to Pittsburgh to pick up that one. check out the new garage while we're out there. Maybe we'll stream it too. I think we probably will stream it. If we go out there, we'll probably stream it for you. Delta connection inbound from Detroit. Actually got the sun trying to make an appearance, kind of brightening up a little bit over here. There's Air Canada Jazz. New flight this summer, Montreal, for the first time in many years out of Cleveland. We have Toronto as well on Air Canada Jazz. I wish they'd bring the A220s back. We had the A220s for a couple of weeks last year, which is pretty cool. I wish they'd bring those back. I went to Dayton for the air show arrivals the day that the retro came in, and I'm still kicking myself for missing the retro, so kind of like to get another crack at that one. Maybe someday. Delta 2750 inbound from Atlanta is the next inbound flight. We've got several inbound flights right now. That's a 737-900 out of Atlanta. The sun actually came out a little bit for that one. Got a little bit of nice lighting on it. United Express 3527 is an E175 out of Dulles. That's our next inbound flight. Followed by a Delta connection out of LaGuardia, flight 5194, and then United 20, oh wait, not that one. American Eagle 5133 out of Philly. Saw the United out of Buffalo and was really confused, but it's passing overhead. A little farther out, we got a NetJet Citation out of Johnstown. Frontier 1492 out of Tampa. United 1501 out of Tampa. JetBlue 541 out of Boston's about 50 minutes out. Frontier 2698 is 45 minutes out from Phoenix. And Southwest 3731 out of Vegas. Oh, it sounds like there's a business jet in there too, because they said there's following a CRJ. Oh, there's a PlaneSense Pilatus PC-12 in there too, out of Portsmouth, behind the CRJ.
133, 6 miles from Shirt, maintain 4,000 full status on the local cars are clear hours from right before out of book.
Got a lot of people out here tonight. Beautiful night to sit out here, watch some airplanes, and enjoy some really nice weather tonight. Be a great night to have a cookout. Over at the gate, Southwest is pushing back with their Max 8. Southwest is flight 1336, and they'll be on their way to Denver. Waiting on the PlaneSense Pilatus PC-12 out of Portsmouth. It's our next inbound flight. Less than a minute out. Of course, it doesn't get here quite as fast as the jets do. As it rolls out, Southwest was waiting for Delta to get to their gate before they are going to be allowed to taxi. Had a few older cars pull in. I don't think there's a show tonight, but at least up here. I remember they used to have car shows up here on Friday nights when it was the 100th Bomb Group restaurant. Kind of wish they'd bring those back. It was kind of nice to come up here on Friday nights and sometimes have a DJ. A lot of classic cars to look at and come up watch some airplanes. Kind of wish they'd bring that back. American Eagle 5133 out of Philly on final. look at the NOTAM to see what time 24 left was going to reopen. I thought it was going to be earlier because I saw the trucks were going back. But it must have just been break time because we're still over there working on the other end of 24 left. The 24 right ops here tonight. I wish it was 6 left and we were on the other side. That would have been really cool, but we'll take it from here. So as Southwest taxis out, we'll grab the CRJ that's inbound. I hope that the family or friends of someone of the UPS pilot that we caught on their retirement flight earlier, I hope that someone let them know that we caught them live. I recorded a video as well, so I can absolutely send that to them in 4K without all the graphics and whatnot on the screen, and we can make it a higher quality video if they're interested. Do it free of charge. Definitely won't charge anybody for anything, but hopefully they're able to see their final landing. Assuming it was a retirement flight with the arches, the water arches. So hopefully they see the fact that we were streaming tonight, or we can send them that video, the high quality recording video of it that we're doing. Try to record all of these. YouTube eats the quality a little bit. The streaming hurts it a little bit, then I think when YouTube uploads it, it kind of hurts the quality. So I always record these, and then a lot of times I'll cut them up and I'll post them later as a regular spotting video. So if you don't want to sit there and watch a 2 or 3 hour live stream, you can watch the 20, 30 minutes of airplanes without the narration and everything in it. Kind of crop things and stabilize things a little bit too in post. I got a bunch of videos I need to edit though and upload. Southwest on their way to Denver.
South 1336, County departure. South 1336 today.
Delta connection. The CRJ that came in a few minutes ago, they are taxiing over to their gate, going to join the other CRJ that's over there. There's an E175 as well. Looks a little bit like Detroit over there with all the Delta regional jets. If you've ever been to Detroit, it's Delta's second busiest hub. But boy, do you see a lot of CRJs up there. Only problem I have with Detroit is, unlike a lot of hubs, you don't get a lot of heavies. There are definitely a few, depending on what time of the day you go, but you get a lot of regional jets up there. And low-cost carriers. That was Spirit's, I think, second busiest hub as well. So when I was up there, I saw a lot of Spirit aircraft. And I went up last weekend. I drove up there specifically to catch one of the final departures for Spirit. They have, I think, 3 aircraft still on the ground up there. So I wanted to go up and try to catch one. I figured it'd be the last chance I'd ever get to see one. and drove by the hangar. They have a pretty new hangar up there, if I remember right. I think it's only a couple of years old. It's a hangar where they had the foam incident a couple of years ago that went viral. It was pretty sad. There were only a couple of airplanes sitting over there. And then the terminal itself, the Evans terminal that they flew out of, was pretty empty. Only a couple of airplanes at the gates from other airlines when I was up there. Then if you walk inside, Spirit had, they were the main airline in that terminal, and just the entire center section of the check-in area was just, it was open, you could walk through it, but it was just dark, and it's really sad. It's a shame. One thing I found interesting though at DTW is that the Evans terminal was mostly your low-cost carriers. American had some gates over there, I think. But it's mostly your low-cost carriers. At the end, you have Turkish Airlines. So we had all these Breeze and Sun Country and Frontier and whatnot were parked there. Then at the end of the terminal, there's a Turkish Dreamliner. Like, wow, that's interesting. I guess they couldn't squeeze them over in McNamara, the main terminal at DTW. Frontier 4209 should be pushing back soon for Atlanta. As well as American Eagle 5529 for its flight back to Charlotte. And let's see our next inbound flight, couple of business jets. We got a Citation heading to Burke. We have NetJets heading inbound from Johnstown. Frontier 1492 out of Tampa, A321neo, about 10 minutes out. About to pass over my house, it looks like. United 1501 following them on their way inbound from Tampa. Actually, I see the beacons are on the Charlotte-bound CRJ. For American.
For your company ahead of you there in the non-movement area with Charlie 5.
Take a look at a traffic notice. Looks like a pretty big accident has closed. Looks like may have completely shut down 77 North right now. South of Cleveland. Tonight we have the Cavs in the playoffs. Game 6 of the second round of the NBA playoffs between the Cavs and the Detroit Pistons. Cleveland up 3-2 in that series. Need to close it out tonight. The Guardians are in town tonight, and their game kicks off here in a little bit. So a lot of people trying to get to Cleveland, and looks like a pretty bad accident on 77 North. Hopefully everyone is okay. Going back, take a look at the schedule. Yearblocks is here. Ask, hey Nick, I'm wondering about this. If you don't want to answer, that's fine, but where were you during 9/11? I was in school, and I remember being really confused. I was in junior high, and I was in gym. I was in PE, and we just had I don't remember what we did that day. It might have been, it was early enough in the year, it might have been like our, kind of like the first week that we would do like your mile run and all that. I don't remember what we did that day, but I remember I was in PE, and at the end of it, like we would do everything, then go to the locker rooms and change, and we'd come back and we'd sit in the gym. I remember we'd sit there, with our legs crossed, waiting for dismissal, and the teachers were talking about airplanes hitting the Pentagon. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, we didn't know what we were talking about. And I remember that there was a girl in my class who I kind of had a little bit of a crush on. But she was a friend of mine. She sat behind me in class, and we talked quite a bit, and did homework and that sort of thing. And it was her birthday. I remember it was her birthday because she talked about, Tuesday's my birthday. She talked about for like the week before that. Well, after PE, we went to math, and I don't know if we were both in gym together, but I know we were both in math together. And we sat down, and the teacher had on this video, and they were talking about a plane crash in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Well, I have an aunt that lives in Somerset, Pennsylvania, or lived at the time. She's passed away long since. I mean, she was in her 90s then, but they lived in the Somerset area because we would go out there every year around the 4th of July for like a family reunion. And I remember driving by they have a bunch of windmills out there if you go that way. At least they did back then. I haven't been out that way in a long time. And so I'm like, what do you mean a plane crash in Somerset? Like, that's just a tiny area. Like, what are you talking about? And then they were showing the Twin Towers, and kind of reality began to sink in. The rest of the day, I remember we just watched the news in class. Like, I stayed in school, but I was in school. And I remember that night, like, I would, we lived in a neighborhood, and my friends and I would ride bikes. We'd ride bikes quite a bit in those days. Those are before, video games and the internet. Not that it didn't exist, it just wasn't what it is today. But we did a lot of stuff outside. And we remember riding around with my friend, and there was just nothing flying. It was the weirdest thing. Of course, a lot of things in Cleveland. This is the airspace where Flight 93 was hijacked. It wasn't too far from here. I know a couple of airplanes diverted in. It would have been crazy to have been at any airport that day if you could even have gotten close. I don't even know if they would have let you close. But sad day. I've been to the World Trade Center site. Haven't been to the museum. Last time I went there was before they completed everything. So someday I'd like to go to the 9/11 museum and everything and check that out. We went to the Flight 93 Memorial the following year, so 2002. We had the family reunion, and we went back out there, and I remember it was before they built anything, so they had like a chain link fence that people were putting notes and flowers, everything on, and if you looked across the field, you could see where the trees were burnt, where it came down. You couldn't get anywhere close to the crash, and even to this day, you can't get close to the crash, but I've been to that one. Someday I wouldn't mind going back out there. I know we've kind of talked about doing DC when Jackson's a little older, doing DC and Gettysburg. And so if we did that, we'd probably drive by. But yeah, I was in school when that happened. My first moment when I realized I was getting old was when I began teaching. And 9/11, I remember September 11, we were kind of talking about 9/11, and I'm like, hey, where were you? What do you remember about 9/11? I had some kids say, I wasn't even born yet. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true. That was my I'm getting old moment. But a day I'll never forget for sure. Yeah, I don't think anyone has probably quite come to terms with how much the world changed. Robbie's here, says, hello everyone, happy Friday. PTFS Aviation asking, anything special coming in today? Well, we have a special livery in a little bit. We were supposed to have had 2 of them, but Alaska can't commit to us for some reason, so they changed it. We were supposed to have got the Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is the one I haven't seen yet. But earlier we had a UPS retirement flight, and they did the water arches, so that was pretty cool. Shelton is here asking you what the Brown schedule. I actually talked about it earlier, but thank you for posting it in the chat. We were talking about some of the charter flights that we'll see later on this year. We'll also have the Hall of Fame game in there as well, so that'll bring in some charter flights. And then next month we'll have Brazil versus Egypt downtown for a World Cup preview game. And so that I'm imagining will probably bring in a couple of, I'm assuming they may bring in a couple of international heavies, so we'll have to wait and see. But we will get the Atlas 747 this year for Baltimore. And maybe a couple of other teams, maybe they'll fly Atlas this year. Based on last year, we should get the Patriots 767 during the preseason, so that's going to be really cool. We should get a nice daytime shot of that. And then I think we'll get an American 777 Should get some Deltas this year, and of course a whole lot of United 747 or United 777s that we should see this summer and fall. As the Browns work on disappointing us all again, I'm sure. Frontier 1492 inbound from Tampa, A321neo. Got United 1501, a 737, and NetJets inbound from Johnston. I always kind of, wish that you could have a time machine just to kind of go back and relive things or see history or see things. And one of the things I wish I could go back and see, be here on 9/11 just to see the chaos and see everything that came in to divert. It would have been wild. If I didn't have the ability to go back in time and warn everyone it was going to happen and prevent it in the first place. If you couldn't prevent it at the very least, it would be interesting to see what went on here or all the flights that diverted into Newfoundland and places like that. But I know I'll never forget it. For the record, I did have her number for a long time, but we were junior high. I mean, you don't really date in junior high, and I never got to that point. I was too scared to ask her out anyways. But but I'll never forget that. My friend Elizabeth's birthday on 9/11. In fact, I remember telling her, I'm like, well, I don't think I'll ever forget your birthday. We were in, I think, what, 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. I think 8th grade, if I remember right. Remember also it had to have been 8th grade because that would have been the year that we would have done the DC trip. So they would take the 8th graders to Washington, DC every year. And I was looking forward to it. I went to DC with my grandparents when I was younger, but I was looking forward to going to DC on the class trip. And of course, after 9/11, that got canceled. And we ended up going to Williamsburg, Virginia, and Gettysburg instead for our class trip. And Williamsburg was really interesting. And I'd love to go back someday, but it wasn't DC. Then the following year, I remember I had a stepbrother who was a grade behind me. And so the following year, he was in 8th grade. And they were supposed to do their DC trip, and they got canceled because there was that sniper along, I don't know if it was 95 or which highway it was, but there was a sniper along the highway that was shooting at cars for like a week or so before that. And so they canceled their trip because of it. I forget where they ended up going. But I had a DC sniper that was along the highways down there. A crazy time. I remember the fear of anthrax, like people sending anthrax through the mail. And so, people were paranoid about opening the mail. And I flew RC airplanes back in those days. I had a couple of little RC airplanes I would fly around. And I remember on the news they're talking about people using model planes to target people and all that stuff back in those days. So American Eagle heading out. That was a sad day. A sad time for sure, 9/11 and everything. But the one thing I do remember, of course I was really young, but I still remember just all the unity, all the patriotism that went on. People, you couldn't find American flags anywhere. They were sold out everywhere. And just the unity and everything that everyone had. I never want to relive the attacks, but I do wish that we could have that unity back again as things are so divided, especially politically and everything nowadays. It would be nice to see people come together like that again, hopefully without, the terrible tragedy. But to see the unity was pretty remarkable. American Eagle lining up. This aircraft heading to Charlotte, North Carolina, CRJ. Should have United inbound from Tampa. I think 02 was the last year we went out that way, because yeah, she's my great aunt. She was definitely up there in her age and wasn't doing super well. So my grandparents every year would go out there. My parents divorced when I was young, so I spent most of my childhood growing up with my grandparents. And they would always go to the family reunions and stuff like that, which I'm glad they did, and I'm glad I went. And every year we still go. We try to meet up. We do things locally now. But after she passed away, one of my aunts and uncles that lived closer, they started hosting them out this way. And so we still go to those. But I think that's 02 or 03 was the last year we went to Pennsylvania for that. So the business jet rolling out. CRJ is going to head out first, then the United will be inbound from Tampa. Sorry about that, I lost connection there for a second. Just give me a second to get everything reset here. United 1501 inbound from Tampa. Waiting for everything to reset here. We'll get the comments back up. One of the American CRJs or United CRJs has pushed back. Your block said, I know you're talking about how you don't play games, but since then, have you played Microsoft Flight Simulator? I guess I probably did misspoke. I mean, I played tons of games growing up. Just back in those days. Back in those days, we were playing PS1, PS2, N64 games and that sort of thing. But I've definitely played Flight Simulator. I wish I had a computer that was a little stronger so I could play it more now, but I know I had Flight Simulator 2000 or 2002, whichever year had the Concorde on it for the first time, we played that. And definitely played a lot of Flight Simulator growing up. I love to watch those videos of the guys that do it. Like have really cool setups to do it really seriously. It's pretty incredible some of the stuff that they can do. I don't have a computer fast enough to run 2000 or 2004, or 24, but 2020 or 2024. But I know I played a little bit. And it's incredible what you can do with those games. Just the graphics are incredible. But I haven't played in a little while, but I need to get that back out and play it. My wife's the gamer in the family. She plays a lot of Sims and stuff like that. I played the heck out of SimCity when I was a kid. That was probably the computer game that I played the most was SimCity. I love to build stuff and then have Godzilla destroy it. But yeah, I played a lot of that growing up, and then I had a PS1. My stepbrother had the N64, and then he had a GameCube. I got the PS2. So I played a lot of that. Haven't got a PS5 yet. I have a couple of coworkers that have been on me for about a year saying I need to get one and join their leagues, but just haven't found the time to do it. I know you can get console versions of those games, but for Flight Simulator, but I know it's nothing like the PC version. Got a lot of private aircraft out flying around today on an absolutely beautiful day. Can't blame anyone for doing it. You know, I wish I was up today. I see they're skydiving out of Gates Airport as well. JetBlue 541 is our next inbound flight, A220 out of Boston. And Frontier 2698 out of Phoenix, A321neo. It's Maria the Bald Eagle, one of the special liveries for Frontier. The American Green Airline livery. A little farther out, United 1808 out of Orlando, and Southwest 3731 out of Las Vegas. Southwest 4101 out of Phoenix as well. Frontier 1055 out of Orlando. We have a Citation out of Panama City. That's about an hour out. Frontier 4036 just took off out of Atlanta a couple of minutes ago. It's a lot of aircraft that are a little farther out, but nothing that is super, super close. Alaska should be heading out about 7:45 with the MAX 8. And Aer Lingus as well, probably around that time. Tonight around midnight, 11:14, we have Tennessee 1 coming in from BWI. Southwest has been sending us special liveries lately, but late at night. We had Independence 1 last week that came in late at night. Still kicking myself for not getting up here in the morning to get it. The Bandit is here. Still kicking myself for not waking up early enough to go get that. It was Mother's Day though. I think it was Sunday morning if I remember right. When it left at 9. Some of my friends got some really cool pictures of it. I wish I would have come up here though. I figure we'll catch it again someday. The Southwest sending stuff at night. Of course, when they brought it, they had to park it at Bravo 10. So at the garage, you couldn't really long expose it, which was a shame. Still hoping to catch that one at Columbus at some point. The Smart Garage at Columbus should offer some really cool views of that at the gate and taxiing in and out. So hoping to get that one down in Columbus. But if you're in the area, Tennessee 1 is due in around 11:15 tonight. Columbus should be getting the Astrojet retro late tonight. United Express 3716 pushing back from its gate on the other side. E175 will be heading to Newark. Empty connection 5641 should be pushing back for Boston soon, and a couple of Frontiers over on their end of the airport. Got a Cessna Skyhawk. I don't know if it's going to come here out of Wadsworth or if it's going to go to Burke, but it's heading up our way. We'll keep an eye on that. Jeff is here, says, hello, Jeff and Charlene from Old Town, Maine. Nice to see you here. It looks like nice weather in Ohio. Yeah, nice night tonight. A little on the cooler side, a little breezy, but certainly not a bad night. Finally not raining. This is the longest we've gone in a while without rain. Like 2 days. So hopefully it stays dry. We can get the yard mowed. It's supposed to be pushing 90 on Sunday and Monday though. So we'll just get a little bit of a heat wave this weekend. Not a bad day to be out. Last night was beautiful too. Hope you're doing well up in Maine. Whoa, it's Dustin says it's going to be a great day when this airport finally gets its facelift. Amen. And I wish they'd get moving with it. Columbus has made great progress with their new airport. Every time I go down there, it's getting bigger and bigger with the construction, the new steel that's going up and everything, the new garage that they're building. Pittsburgh just opened their new airport. I wish Cleveland would get moving. April was supposed to have been the start of everything, and I haven't seen them really doing much yet. And I haven't really seen construction on where the gold lot's going to be and everything yet. So I'm sure they're working on stuff. There's probably stuff going on that we can't see, but we should get moving with it. They are putting new fencing up all the way around the airport, so. So all the way around the airport, you got this green tube on the ground. That is the new fencing that they're putting up. But it'll be great to see them finally get that new airport done. Beverly is here, says, hello, Cleveland Hopkins International. It's me, BC in Kent, Ohio. Well, hope you're doing well tonight, Beverly. Thank you for being here. Just says, miss seeing you at the airport. No places to see planes at Bangor. That's a shame because they get some pretty cool stuff through there. I feel like a lot of stuff comes through and goes through customs and whatnot up there. So that's kind of a shame that there isn't any great spotting locations up that way. Got more and more airports opening observation decks. I saw Dallas Love opened up one recently. There's some other ones that's opening them up as well. Orlando is even talking about opening up an official spotting area. They had a post on their Instagram asking for feedback from photographers. Boy, if that happens, then Orlando is going to become a very popular trip for me. That's an easy flight, usually a pretty affordable flight, especially if you book it out long enough. There's tons of options to Orlando. If they open up an observation area that you could get to from the terminal without needing to get a rental car, that's a better spot than the garage, then I would be down there like every other week in the winter for sure. And that's an easy trip. The only problem with Orlando is that, you know, I usually don't rent a car unless I plan on actually like going somewhere. So when I went down in March for the Artemis launch, I rented a car because I want to go to Kennedy Space Center. But typically, if I'm just going to go do a spotting trip, like a day trip, I'm not going to rent a car unless I actually plan on going somewhere and do an overnight trip or something like that. So there are a couple of parking garages that are designated spots for photography, but you're pretty far away from the runway and everything's cut off by the terminal and by the garages, so you can only really see so much. It's okay for photography. It's a little tougher for video when I was up there. And so I've never really made the effort to go back to Orlando and do a spotting video. Because I feel like if I'm going to spend the money to do it, I want to go somewhere where I can get some really good video, good shots for you guys. So, you know, Fort Lauderdale is a good place. That's usually pretty cheap. I've done that a couple of times. A few other airports like that, but Orlando's never really been one on my list because I just never really thought you could see that well. But if they do an observation area, especially that you can get to pretty easily from the terminal, then we'll make Orlando happen more often. That's the most exciting one that I remember hearing about lately. Love to get back to New York at some point. The one airport that I hope does it is O'Hare. Chicago has some absolutely incredible places to watch aircraft. They're doing all that road work that's going to eventually close off the hill, which is one of the most famous spotting areas probably in the world. There's a couple of other locations at O'Hare that are really, really good. But that's an airport that I wish would put in an official area for photography because there's some absolutely incredible spotting out there. Need to make the trip back out to O'Hare at some point. From here, Houston's a good day. Houston's a long day trip, but you can do it. Washington Dulles is a good day trip. DCA is a good day trip. Fort Lauderdale was a good day trip. A little easier when we still had Spirit, but that was a good day trip. I know JetBlue is adding some flights down there, but JFK is a good day trip. At least as far as ones where you need to get onto an airplane. But if Orlando can do if Orlando could put in an official viewing location, that would be worth the money for me. Of course, Detroit's a good day trip, but I just drive that one. Cincinnati is a little long for a drive, and there's not really a lot of good flight options. I did see, I think Breeze is adding Louisville out of Pittsburgh. That would be nice. I may have to make the trip to Indianapolis later this summer, though, since FedEx has made the MD-11 come back a reality. They've been doing a few flights with the MD-11s this week, so now that those are actually back, I'd love to take the trip out to see an MD-11 again, for the first time in a long time seeing an MD-11. Tanker 10 posted on their Instagram today that their DC-10s are back in service, the fire tankers, as the FAA has approved the fix and lifted the grounding of the DC-10s and MD-11s. Omega, I think, have theirs flying as well. Delta could actually heading to Boston. JetBlue 541 on final from Boston, about 2 minutes out, followed by a special livery Frontier 2698 out of Phoenix. A321neo, it's Maria the Bald Eagle, one of the America Green or Airline liveries. We'll see that aircraft inbound. Red Arrows have also officially announced. Got a Cessna inbound, I didn't even see that. Red Arrows have officially announced that they'll be at Oshkosh. And Patrol de France has announced that they'll be doing the 250th flyovers in New York and DC, so love to try to find a way to catch those. Cessna inbound from Wadsworth Airport. I'll be doing a student pilot doing a touch and go. I apologize, I wasn't paying attention, or I would have caught this coming in. As they're heading back to, I'm assuming, Avitt Flight School, if I remember right. There they are. Don't think this is one of Sky Park's, but it's heading back that way. Got the Delta A220 on their way back to Minneapolis. So I have a couple of A220s here. Delta and JetBlue A220s. In the background, I see Air Canada Jazz is taxiing out on their way back to Montreal. There's JetBlue. So Delta's going to get out of here before Frontier. And Jazz will hold short. Engines look comically big on the A220. Like 1449 on the way back to Minneapolis. So as Delta heads out, Air Canada Jazz should be holding short. We'll get the Frontier special livery. A321neo, one of Frontier's first 3 21 neos to enter service. They wear a special livery. America's Green Airline liveries, flight 2698 out of Phoenix. I believe this one is Maria the Bald Eagle. Wait for it to get out from behind the tree. There it is. As Frontier rolls out, Air Canada Jazz will take the runway. I think it's flight 791, if I remember right. E175 on their way to the city of Montreal, Canada. Delta Connection CRJ lining up behind that. As Jazz lines up, the CRJ is the next one to go. I do see now that looks like they're working on getting the runway over there cleared off. Ops car driving down 24 left. So I don't know if this means that they're done for the day and they're gonna open it up, or they're just done for the day and they're gonna leave it closed. But I see the trucks are heading our way. Trying to figure out where the Frontier is. It's still taxiing down at the other end. Next inbound flight, Southwest 3731 out of Las Vegas, about 10 minutes out. United 1008 out of Orlando, about a half hour out. These guys have been waiting for a while for their flight up to Boston. Jeff says, we got lots of military aircraft and special deliveries. Yeah, you get some really cool stuff up there. It'd be a neat place to check out. Beverly says, where do you get Maine from Kent, Ohio? Well, Jeff is from Maine. O'Hare is too big, huge airport. It's a big airport, that's true. But it's a great airport from a photography standpoint or a video standpoint. I love going up that way. Delta connection on their way to Boston. E175. Your blocks ask are you into NASCAR? If so, any diecast? I was really big into it when I was a kid. Like really big into it. Still have a bunch of diecasts from when I was a kid. Right now, I'll just kind of watch every once in a while. If I'm at home on a Sunday and it's on, I'll watch it. I'm not really big into it anymore. I was big into it when I was a kid. We would go to, even in high school and college, like when I got to college, every once in a while, some of my friends and I would go to a race. I've been to Daytona, I've been to Indy, Michigan a few times, Bristol, Talladega. After I got married and everything, really just didn't stay into it as much. And that was a huge Kevin Harvick fan, and he ended up, once he retired, I really haven't had that much reason to watch anymore. I'll still watch from time to time. I'll watch the Indy 500 too. That's about the only IndyCar race I watch, but I'll watch that here in a couple of weeks. NHRA as well. When I was young, my dad would take us up to Norwalk or Summit Motorsports Park now, and usually for Night Under Fire. So I've been up there a couple of times, and it was a lot of fun to watch. I got a few diecasts. Try to figure out if I want to keep them or if I want to get rid of them. I used to have over 100 of them when I was younger. I used to like catalog them and everything and log them onto when Action Performance had the website, you could like log the serial numbers on them. But I haven't bought one in a long time. Got a lot of airliner die-cast models I collect though, but usually you buy and hang on to them for a little bit, sell them, buy other ones, hang on to them for a little bit and sell them. I picked up a Spirit A320neo the night that they shut down. So I'm like, oh, when that rumor started going around that was going to happen, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll pick one up. I flew Spirit a few times, and like, oh, maybe I'll pick one up. I'll put it on my shelf. Boy, am I glad I did that, because by the next morning they had tripled in price. Frontier taxiing to the gate just came in from Phoenix. This is Maria the Bald Eagle, one of the America's Green Airline special liveries for Frontier, one of 3 of them that wear a different variation of this livery. Pretty much the same livery. The eagle on the back is a little different for all 3 of them. Kind of a different poses for the eagle. This one is kind of more spread out. This, I believe, was a second A320neo in Frontier's fleet. The first 3 were painted in kind of this livery. The rest are in a regular Frontier livery. But it's Frederick, Maria, and Edward are the names of the first 3 A321neos. Remember when this came in, they did the water salute and everything for it. Cleveland, I believe, was one of the first airports to get these. So it was a pretty big deal when they came in. They did the water salute and everything. Social media event. Don't believe we were the first airport to get them, but I feel like we were one of the first, because I just remember it was a pretty big deal when it happened. Guys have been hanging out for a little bit. Jeff says, I'm from Old Town, Maine, and know Nick very well. We've met several times. Gotta make the trip up there someday. One of my coworkers actually just went up there. She's trying to make it the goal to go to all 50 states. And so Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire were the 3 that they knocked out this time. And one of the goals was to find a moose. And so they went up, and I guess someone took them on a tour so they could find one. But that would be a pretty neat trip for sure to go up that way. Chris is here, says good evening everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good, enjoying your Friday night. Get a little bit on the cooler side up here. I know we'll wrap it up here pretty soon, go home and get some dinner. Been up here since about 3 o'clock, so it's time to time to wrap it up for the night. Airblock says, sell some die-cast to me. I'm looking for some. Hey, I could. I gotta go back and actually look to see what I got. They were all at my grandparents' house. So I had like a room there. So my room there, they put all these shelves up. And so I had them just all around that room. You know, either the die-cast or just different things that I had collected and put up there. And I have to actually go back and look to see what I got. I know I've sold a few of them over the years. I have to go back and see what I got. I know I got a couple that are worth some money. Got a couple I wouldn't sell. There's a couple I want to hang on to just because of, you know, I've met people and got autographs and whatnot, but I don't know. We'll see. Had to figure out what I'm going to do with all those. We were over there a couple of weeks ago. I took my 1-year-old over there and went back in there, and a lot of the stuff that I had growing up are in like totes and that sort of thing. And I opened up a tote box that it's full of the 1/64 scale ones, the ones that you get at like Walmart and Target and stuff like that. And they were all still in the boxes because I thought, oh, these might be worth money someday. So I kept them all in the boxes. Like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with all these? To be honest, I give one of them to him. Like, do I sell them or do I keep them for him to play with when he's a little bit older? But I probably have 200 or 300 of those boxes. I see the Pilatus is taxiing out. We should catch it here in a second as it taxis in front of the E-175 on their way out. Alaska 216 is getting ready to push back from their gate on their way back to Seattle. See an American Eagle CRJ over there as well. Might be some construction equipment over there. So maybe it looks like we might be getting ready to start construction on the parking lot and all the work around the old Concourse D, Concourse Delta. Which that would be good to see. Finally officially kicking off the airport modernization project to get the new terminal that we so desperately need here in Cleveland. These things have a model airplane look to them. The way the exhaust sticks out the side like that, it reminds me of one of those gas-powered RC airplanes. Yeah, Plane Sense Pilatus PC-12 heading out. Delta 2750 has pushed back from their gate. They'll be heading back to Atlanta. A couple more RJs lining up. You got a United Express E-175 and American Eagle CRJ. Get ready to line up for departure. United Express E-175 lining up for departure. Southwest inbound from Las Vegas. Got lots of aircraft lining up for departure. United Express, American Eagle, Delta. Looks like another, I don't know if I can tell if that's United Express or JetBlue back there that's pulling out. It's got to be United Express. I can't imagine JetBlue is ready to go yet. Alaska should be taxiing out as well. So as we started the show a couple of hours ago, we're going to end the show with a lot of departures, it looks like. Is a United Express E-175 in the background. Aviation Media says, got the news, I'm attending the Pensacola Beach show in July. Well, hope you enjoy the air show. Hope you get to see some cool stuff down there. I really wanted to go to Miami, but don't think that's going to happen. Financially, we got to cut back a little bit this year. So won't be able to do probably quite as much as what I wanted to, but got to be smart about funds and get out of the hole that we've been in. We've The finances have been tight, to be honest, the last 5 or 6 months, and rising fuel prices certainly have hurt, so won't get to go to as much as I was hoping to, but so won't get to go to that one, but hope you have a great time in Pensacola. But check out the Navy Aviation Museum down there and see everything with the Blue Angels. That's something I've always wanted to do. Jeff says, well, let me know. I definitely will if we head out that way. Sure you heard about the Piper crash in Akron like 10 minutes from me. What do you think about that? I saw that. We were talking about that earlier in the show. I'm glad no one was hurt on the ground. Shame to hear about the people on the aircraft. WKYC posted an article that said that's the 3rd time in the last 11 years that an aircraft is going down in a neighborhood in the areas around Akron Fulton. I think the 3rd one was a Cessna that ran out of gas and crashed, I think in like a basketball court or something a couple of years ago. But I thought it said in a house. The ones I remember in a house, I remember when I was a kid, there was one that crashed, I think in 2000 or 2001, it crashed into a house in Ellett. My uncle was a firefighter for the Akron Police Department. I had a lot of stories about that one. But it crashed on takeoff out of Fulton into a house in Ellett. So I remember that. I remember the jet that crashed back in like 2014, 2015, something like that. That killed, I think, 8 or 9 people. It took off out of Dayton. I remember that one. It crashed into the apartment complex. And yesterday, I don't remember another one crashing into a house. I'll have to go back and look. But Fulton's a pretty busy airport. You got a flight school out there. This aircraft that crashed wasn't a part of the flight school. American Winds is over there, which has an airline training program and whatnot. Partnered with Liberty University, I believe, with their program. But you got a flight school. You got a decent amount of general aviation operations out of that airport. And there's a lot of neighborhoods and everything around it. So unfortunately, when stuff happens, there aren't a lot of places for them to go, unfortunately, other than into a house. But glad to hear no one was hurt in the home. That's, a miracle, really. Someone on Facebook posted where, I don't know if mom was home, but dad was in the basement working, and the kids are upstairs sleeping. He had a couple of young kids, and ran upstairs and got them out of the house and saved the kids and their dog. That's what I saw someone post on Facebook, and boy, that's true. That's an absolute miracle that everyone got out of the house. Yeah, it's a shame. Alaska 216 is taxiing out for departure. And I gotta head home soon and help get the little one to bed. So we'll probably wrap it up after Alaska. So I have Alaska probably be the last flight of the day as it heads out. We'll catch United 1808 out of Orlando on final. But yeah, I gotta be cautious with money over, I think, the rest of the summer, or find a second job, one of the two, until we can get caught up a little bit. Got to pay more in those student loans too. That's also a challenge, but I know her car usually costs you about 30 to 35 bucks to fill her car up with gas. And it was almost $60 to fill her car up with gas the last time I filled it up last week. And my truck, I just have a little truck, and it was close to almost $90 that I put gas in that thing the other day. It's like, oh my goodness. So definitely have to kind of limit how much we travel, which is why we haven't done as many live streams and whatnot lately, just because it's basically been like, if there isn't a reason to go up, it's really, really just can't go up. Tonight I wanted to cover just because it's been a little while and trying to get back into the routine of every Friday night. But you know, we just gotta watch our finances, at least for a little bit. Hopefully things will calm down and gas prices will come down and we can get back on top of it. Our utility prices were nuts as well, so now that it's warming up again, we could turn the furnace off and at least the gas bill should come down. But, so we definitely had to cut back a little bit, but which I know a lot of people are. Let's get 216 taxiing out. I wish my job, I know it'll never happen, but we were remote for 3 years out of COVID, like fully remote. And then in the last year or so, they've called people back into the office. We got to go in 3 days a week, which I know is a blessing that we don't have to go in Mondays and Fridays, but I wish my job would, you know, kind of ease off on the in-office requirements a little bit, since it's really not that necessary with what we do. But gas isn't cheap. It's hurting the airlines too. Really hurt the airlines. We've seen Frontier parking some airplanes. Some other airlines are parking airplanes. I know Frontier specifically is. United adding fuel surcharges to flights, increasing their fares, and also cutting flights. I think American and Delta have done the same thing. Looks like they opened up 24 left as Alaska's getting ready to line up over there. So we've definitely seen some airlines cut back flights or raise ticket prices. Spirit, in their bankruptcy filing, when they file for liquidation, specifically put in their court documents that the reason that Spirit went under was due to the oil prices. So even though there's a bunch of other reasons that's certainly been documented, engine issues, the mergers, COVID, overexpansion could be on that conversation. Spirit specifically said that the oil prices, fuel prices, were the reason that they couldn't get out of the second bankruptcy that they went through. It wasn't that long ago, Spirit said that they were on track to get out of exit bankruptcy later this year. But wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. I know a lot of people want to blame the government for blocking the mergers, but there's a lot more to that story than just that. I feel like they should have been allowed, they should have merged, not with JetBlue, but with Frontier. I think that they might have got that merger approved. East Coast Airline merging with a West Coast Airline for Western U.S. runway, with Frontier being based out of Denver. They were more direct competitors, where JetBlue was being a low-cost carrier, don't really line up with Spirit. JetBlue in their court documents admitted that merger was to eliminate a competitor, which is probably ultimately why it got blocked. United Express heading out on 24 left. We're going to catch the MAX inbound on this runway. But the Spirit's leadership wanted to merge with Frontier, at least from what I read. They wanted to merge with Frontier. The shareholders wanted to merge with JetBlue, seeing the higher value that JetBlue put on. I think Spirit was like, I think Frontier was like 2.5 billion and JetBlue was like 3.2 billion or something like that. Spirit and JetBlue's leadership both said that, hey, this is going to get challenged in court. But you got to wonder if things are different if they had merged with Frontier. But at the end of the day, and there was an article Midas Touch put out saying that sources inside JetBlue said that had they emerged with Spirit, it might have led to the end of both airlines. JetBlue is not doing that great financially either, and they've been talking about bankruptcy and mergers and wanting to be bought out and all that as well. And so you got to wonder if they had merged anyways, if it would have been a good merger, or if it would have led to 2 airlines failing instead of 1. Frontier isn't doing necessarily great either. Not like on the verge of like going out of business or anything like that, but their finances haven't been super strong over the last couple of years. They got a lot of debt. Allegiant and Sun Country just closed their merger. Officially closed their merger recently. Allegiant, as far as your ultra low cost carriers, Allegiant has been doing, their finances actually look pretty good. So who knows, maybe Allegiant and Sun Country, maybe they'll be the dominant low cost carrier when it's all said and done. I know personally I will miss Sun Country. They were a pretty quirky airline to fly. I flew on them a couple of years ago, but they did the inaugural out of Cleveland. And they just unveiled, if you haven't seen it, they just unveiled an absolutely gorgeous retro livery. Based off their old DC-10 and 727 livery. That's an awesome retro, and I hope to see it at some point, whether it's here or Columbus or Akron, Canton or wherever. I really can't wait to see that one someday. American Eagle heading out. So hopefully Allegiant lets that one survive for a while. Once the merger, once everything was started with the merger and they merged the bases and crews and aircraft together and start painting aircraft, assuming into the Allegiant livery. Hopefully they let a few survive in the Sun Country livery, especially the retro livery. Hopefully that one sticks around for a while. We know when Southwest merged with AirTran, they basically scrubbed any existence of AirTran from their existence. Got rid of the 717s and closed some AirTran bases like Akron, Canton, and there's no AirTran retro or anything like that. So hopefully Allegiant and Sun Country, they'll let the retro go for a while, or maybe keep it in their fleet like United did with Continental, or American and US Airways did with all their retro liveries. That jet's heading out. In the background, I see Shamrock 9 Lima Tango is taxiing out for departure. The Aer Lingus Airbus A321 will be heading back to Dublin, so we'll catch that one before we go. United heading out, we got Southwest 4101 inbound from Phoenix. And a sports update, the Cincinnati Reds are up 2-0 over the Guardians. And across the street from Progressive Field, the Detroit Pistons are up 41-31 over the Cavaliers with 7:08 left in the second quarter. Cavs win tonight, they win the series. They lose tonight, they're facing a Game 7 in Detroit, which does not sound like a fun situation. Sounds like a tough game to win. So hopefully the Cavs can pull this off tonight and win the series at home. And as a St. Louis fan, hopefully the Guardians can win the series against the Reds. Going back, taking a look at all the stuff we got here. It's like Earl's talking about some diecast. I have to check out Earl's channel for his diecast. I'll have to do that. Ty is here, says thanks for streaming. Well, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Airblock says, yeah, gas is getting bad, almost $5 here in the Warrensville area. I went to Detroit over the weekend and saw diesel for over $6. Like, oh my goodness. Random Aviation says, howdy Nick, beautiful day to spot airplanes. Indeed. Especially now that the sun has come out. It was a beautiful day to be up here. Stingeon says, Eastern Pacific hurricane season has begun. Well, if you're in that area, I hope you stay safe. To go on a trip in 1 month. Get Southwest as they're inbound. Trying to catch the comments in the follow Aer Lingus there. So as Southwest rolls out, we'll get, Beverly says, I heard all about that Akron Municipal Airport area crash, not far away at all. Was shocked out of my mind. Aer Lingus heading to Dublin. It's quite the soundtrack for an Irish aircraft, but that's okay. Aer Lingus on their way out. Hopefully the Cavs win tonight, because if they're done, we won't see any more of these for a while. The NBA charters, the Delta 757s. So hopefully the Cavs can pull it out tonight. Hey, we have a diversion coming in. We're going to stay. I don't have too much battery left. We're going to try to catch it though. Delta 2750 just popped up diverting back in. That's the flight that took off a few minutes ago. Let me see if that's a glitch. Looks like it's legitimate. They're turning around over Columbus. I don't know if we're going to have the battery with the encoder. If we don't, I'll just switch over to the camera. Unfortunately, that could lead to some challenges, but we'll do our best here to catch it. But they're coming back. So not sure what's going on there, but we have a diversion coming in. So Delta 2750 is diverting back in.
61868 approach, Altimeter 2999.
I need to get the, I bought a power inverter. I didn't bring it up here with me tonight, and I wish I did. Especially now that we have something going on, so we'll do our best to catch. I know this thing, the encoder is getting low. I could just switch to the camera. So we'll try to catch that for you. A couple of Frontier flights inbound as well. Flight 1055 out of Orlando. and 4036 out of Atlanta. A couple of inbound Frontier flights. American 1078 out of Chicago O'Hare, A319 is turning over downtown. United 1896 out of LAX, and Air Canada Jazz 735 as well. So we may have to switch the encoder off. And we'll keep an eye on the Delta. I don't know if it's a medical emergency or if it is a aircraft emergency. We'll keep an eye on it though. But they just turned around over Columbus and they're heading back. Think any tornadoes gonna rip up the Midwest this year? I hope not. There's a big tornado outbreak, or they're talking about a severe weather outbreak Sunday or Monday next week in the kind of in the Great Plains Midwest part, like, you know, west of Chicago. So we'll keep an eye on that. Only thing I want is some diversions. We haven't had the last international heavy jet that we had divert was last year when we were in Gatlinburg. We had an SAS divert due to a medical emergency. We had Turkish divert in last year due to weather in Detroit. We haven't had anything in a while, so I just want to see something divert in. I know it sucks for the passengers and crew, but I'm greedy and want to see something divert in. Hopefully due to weather, not due to an emergency, but I haven't had much this year. Normally when Detroit gets weather, we'll get some stuff. Sometimes Chicago and Newark will get some stuff, but we haven't had anything so far this year. Delta connection 4854. Speaking of Detroit, getting ready to take the runway. I don't see any action going on in the garages yet. But hopefully no big tornadoes. Hate to see. I think tornadoes are neat. Would love to see one someday. I've done some storm chasing, but I haven't actually seen a tornado. But I don't like to see all the damage and destruction of people's lives. That's I lived in Western Ohio when the Memorial Day outbreak was going on. I lived out in Van Wert. We were about a half hour north of Salina and about 2 hours north of Dayton maybe. And so I did a little volunteer work in Dayton after the EF4 that went through. And I remember driving through Salina, and I remember driving down 75, and you can see all the tornado tracks, like in Wapakoneta got hit and a bunch of different towns got hit on the way down between Salina and Dayton. And it was so sad to see all that and to see the house where someone died in, and you know, so hopefully we don't see that again. When we went to Gatlinburg last year, we drove through London, Kentucky, which had a big tornado last year. I think it was an EF4, or EF3 or EF4. I think it was an EF4 that crossed the highway down there and just looked both ways to see where everything was destroyed, and they were shoving all the debris in the piles and burning the debris. And I'm good not seeing anything like that for a while. We're gonna lose the encoder, and I wanna catch the Delta for you before we wrap up. So I'm gonna wrap up with this stream for the night. I'm gonna try to go live with just the camera, so it's probably gonna be a different link. So just bear with me for a minute, and I'm gonna switch the encoder off and just go live with the camera so we can catch the inbound emergency diversion that we have coming in. So just bear with me for 1 second. We're gonna end this stream, and we'll catch you on the